I'll never forget that night. The phone call that shook my world came in at exactly 2 a.m., just as I had drifted off to sleep. The ringing was so loud, I swear it echoed in my bones. It was my husband's boss, and what she said made my heart stop cold. He's mine. At first, I thought I had misheard. It couldn't possibly be happening. I had always prided myself on being calm, on knowing when to pick my battles. But this was a fight I hadn't expected. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and tell us where you are listening. Your support means everything. Let me backtrack a little. I'm Sarah, married to Greg for 5 years. He works at a prestigious marketing firm. On the surface, our life seemed perfect. We had the kind of marriage that people envied: loving, supportive, the whole 9 yards. Greg was driven, ambitious, and incredibly talented at what he did. I always knew that his career came with its pressures, but he promised me that nothing, not even his boss, would come between us. Then there was Allison, Greg's boss. She was in her early 40s, sharp, charismatic, and ruthless. I'd met her a few times at work events, and she always exuded a kind of power I admired. She was also the kind of woman who made people nervous without lifting a finger. I never thought much about her beyond the fact that she was just a successful boss until that phone call. The beginning of the end. It started innocently enough. Greg had been working long hours, trying to land a huge client for the firm. I knew it was important to him, and I supported him as best I could. But I noticed something off. A few weeks ago, he had come home a little too late, his suit jacket rumpled, his tie loose. When I asked him about it, he gave me some vague excuse about needing to work late on a presentation. I didn't push further. Greg had never given me a reason not to trust him. But that night, at 2 a.m., everything changed. I had barely opened my eyes before I heard Greg's phone buzzing on the nightstand. I reached over to grab it, groggy and irritated. The screen flashed Allison. Something about it made my stomach twist. I told myself it was nothing, maybe some urgent work issue or a last-minute request. But as I fumbled to answer, I caught the words that froze me to the core. Greg. Allison's voice was smooth, almost predatory. I think it's time we discuss the new project. But before we dive in, I need you to understand something. He's mine. I blinked, unsure of what was happening. Was she drunk? Was this a joke? Who is this? I asked, my voice shaking with a mix of disbelief and anger. It wasn't the first time I'd heard rumors about Allison's flirtations. Some people in the office had said she played games with her subordinates, using her power to manipulate and control. But I had always brushed it off as workplace gossip. Now, hearing her on the other end of the line, making it clear that she was talking about my husband, was a whole different story. I wanted to hang up, but I didn't. I wanted to confront her right then, but I knew it wouldn't help. Sarah, she purred, almost like she knew she had the upper hand. Greg's a smart man, don't you think? Smart enough to know what's good for him. And what's good for him, right now, is me. I felt sick. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You're out of your mind, I said, my voice cold. You've got no right to talk about my husband like that. Oh, but I do, dear. I always get what I want. Then she hung up. The moment of reckoning. Greg woke up when I slammed his phone back onto the nightstand. He rubbed his eyes and looked at me, still groggy from sleep. What's wrong? Tell me what the hell's going on with you and Allison, I demanded, my voice louder than I intended. He blinked at me, looking genuinely confused. What? Nothing's going on with me and Allison. It's just work stuff. Why are you? I interrupted him. She just called me. At 2 a.m., Greg, and she told me, he's mine. His face turned pale. He reached for his phone, but I grabbed it before he could. Greg, what's happening? Is she really making a move on you? What kind of game is she playing? Greg ran his hand through his hair and sighed deeply, sitting up in bed. He looked like a man who knew he had to admit something, but was unsure how to say it. Look, tell me the truth. I cut in. He looked at me for a long time, and when he spoke again, his voice was thick with guilt. She's been pushing me, Sarah. I didn't want to tell you, but it's been happening for a while. She's been making these comments, these little advances. I didn't know how to deal with it. I swear I never encouraged her. I felt my blood run cold. My husband was being manipulated by his boss, and it was worse than I'd ever imagined. But something in me snapped. I wasn't going to stand by while she tried to destroy everything we'd built. I'll take care of this, I said, my voice steady. Greg looked at me, confused. What are you going to do? Nothing that'll get you in trouble. But I'm not going to let her walk all over us. My calm revengeth next day. I put my plan into motion. I didn't confront Allison directly. That would be too easy, too obvious. Instead, I went after her legacy, the very thing she was so proud of. Allison had built her career on being ruthless, cold, and incredibly manipulative. She thrived on control, and everyone in the company knew it. But she also had a very public image. She wasn't just a boss, she was an icon in the industry. And that's where I found my leverage. I started by talking to a few of Greg's colleagues, people who had worked with Allison and seen her true nature behind closed doors. I made it clear to them that I wasn't looking to start a scandal. I just wanted to make sure they understood the kind of person they were dealing with. It wasn't long before I'd gathered enough whispers and complaints about Allison's unethical behavior to make a serious impact. I wasn't aiming for revenge in the sense of ruining her career, but I wanted to make her realize that she couldn't just play with people's lives without consequences. Then I found the final piece of the puzzle. During a routine meeting with some of the firm's biggest clients, I subtly made sure the truth about Allison's behavior was brought to light. It wasn't a direct confrontation, but the pieces fell into place perfectly. The clients, who had always been wary of her, started questioning her methods. A few even hinted at possible alternative partnerships. By the end of the week, Allison's carefully constructed empire had started to crumble. It wasn't a sudden fall from grace, but it was slow, steady, and undeniable. And as for my marriage, Greg and I became stronger than ever. The trust we had in each other was solidified, and Greg realized the depth of my loyalty to him. Allison might have tried to claim him, but she never stood a chance against what we had. The unexpected twist. Here's the kicker. After everything settled down, I got a message from Allison. It wasn't what I expected. There was no anger, no attempt at retaliation. Instead, it was a simple note. I guess I underestimated you. You win. And that was it. Allison never made another move on Greg. In fact, she moved on to a different position at another company. No drama, no messy fallout, just a quiet exit. Her legacy? Gone. Without a loud explosion. Just like that. As for me, I got my peace. And my husband's respect. How's that? Should I continue building on the story?